Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. And this is our NBA all times episode. And we are joined by basketball expert, guy I debate all the time on this, Patrick Batts. Hey, what's up, P. Batts? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining
What's going on? Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
Pat is family. He's a part of my crew called the Harbor Four, so giving them a shout out. And that's those who know, they know. All right. And but look, Pat, we got you on here because that Harbor Four with me, you, Anthony, and Rodney, we debate stuff all the time. And one of our latest debates had to do with the top 10 players of all time. And look, I had this same debate in a text group with you, with Kirk, with my brother, with a whole bunch of other people. I was like, let's go ahead on and do this. And this is on a lot of people's radar now, not just us, but all of the NBA, ESPN, Fox Sports. They're talking about it because Steph Curry just went up another level in a lot of people's eyes. I didn't think he necessarily needed to do what he did, but I've seen his greatness for years. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our top 10 greatest players of all time. Kirk, why don't you tell us what you presume will be our criteria, if there is any?
Oh, let's just freestyle. I mean, let's just have fun. If you want to make up your own, you mentioned a couple of things off camera. That's fine. You can mention that. I mean, I would say we need to get more generational, but check us out on the Kirk and Byrd Show, BYRD on YouTube. Please subscribe. And then outside of that, if you just go into Google search, you'll find us on a bunch of platforms if you ever want to listen to us. So this debate right here, like Rusty said, a lot of people are having. And I was telling Pat and Rusty, I would really like to get a 30-year-old on here, somebody 20-something years older that's only grown up with the newer players, because we're going to have some great conversation there. So, Rusty,
I agree, but they haven't. And just like if we had somebody on here with us that was in their late 60s or 70s, they could tell us something different. Just some of these young kids, you think about this. A 30-year-old never really saw Jordan play, right?
No.
They didn't see him,
Yeah.
But that is a good perspective, but they're going to be wrong. All right, well, go ahead. All right.
No, I mean, if they're historians of the game, I would say not. But
Kirk, most people we know are not historians of the game, and even the historians of the game, most of them are dead wrong. I watch all these guys are supposed to be experts. Nick Wright had a top 50 in the last 50 years. And some of the people he had up there, I totally disagree with. He's supposed to be more of an expert, but let's go. I think sometimes these are best dealt with us at this level. So let's go.
Rusty, real quick.
Kirk, what's the criteria?
All right, let's go
10 up.
I just want to do this because with our viewers, this has been extremely popular. And I just want to promote, and we're going to go straight to the criteria, is two tapings that we did that are doing extremely well. We did the best, and Pat, if you have not watched these, they're good. The views are telling us they're good. But we did the best football players all time from the state of Virginia, and that is episode 69. And then we also did the best basketball players from the state of Virginia. We had slightly different criteria. That's 75. So 69 and 75. So Rusty, I would say make it whatever you want. You mentioned something like Jim Ryan said, take your big men out and separate them. If you want to do that, do that. Just come up with your top 10. Mine is going to be, what it is. And I think I've gotten a little more progressive in my thinking, especially watching some of the things that are going on now. So, Pat, whatever you feel like, Rusty, why don't you just make a point like you never saw Oscar Robertson? You said you never saw Rick Barry. You said you never saw Pete Maravich. Right. I mean, that's fine. If you want to put those guys in there.
Okay. All
right.
So this is what we'll do. We'll go ahead and start. What do you want to do? We're going to go top 10, just general top 10, who we think are the best players, then regardless of positions or era, right? And, okay, I do have to ask this question. are we factoring in championships?
It's up to you. It's your own
That's your top 10.
It's your top 10.
All right.
It's your top 10, man. That's all it is. It's your top 10. And there's no right or wrong. This is a fun thing. So how about this? How about we'll start with each one of our number ones, then we'll go our number twos, and then I think we'll start to wind in a narrative with part of our top 10 criteria. Sound good?
That's fine.
Pat's our guest. Pat, you're up.
All right. I'm going to start with the easy one. Number one is always going to be MJ for me.
Okay.
It speaks for itself. I think he's, he dominated a decade minus 2 years and taking a break. So he did what he wanted to do. He ended Magic's reign permanently, and that's why MJ is the greatest.
All right. Hudson? Age before beauty, so I'm the youngest.
Okay. I know Pat's younger than you, but
Pat's younger than me.
So
Yep.
yeah.
You look it.
So so look, this is it. Basically. Pat, I didn't want to be Mr. Controversy here. I get that Jordan is considered the greatest of all time, but I'm going to say this. Yes, Jordan had 6 championships, and he was definitely a dominant and great player. He also had a lot of flair, but he also was a part of a humongous marketing campaign that only intensified his greatness. The shoes, just the swag, and his style of play. So I'm never going to take those things from him. I just think they did add to his lure. But I'd have to say, to me, the greatest player of all time is Magic Johnson. And I'm going to tell you why. If we do take into consideration criteria, the criteria of championships, you said he ended Magic's reign. Well, he beat him. It didn't end his reign. His illness, him being HIV positive, actually ended his career. Now, what I say, and the reason I'm going to say Magic is the greatest is because if Magic Johnson and that Lakers team if Magic never had those issues, they lost, and that was like 91, right? They lost in 91, in June of 91. Magic, he has to stop playing. I guess it was in October, November, around that time frame. But what I contend is this. Magic was still relatively young. I think he was only about 32, 33. 33 years old. And Magic he was still at the top of his game. And I think that if Magic he may not have won 2 or 3 more championships, but if those Lakers were still together with Magic at the helm, Jordan may not have won 3 in a row, then 2, then 3 in a row. Like, what I contend is that Magic gets maybe 2 more, and if those 2 are against the Bulls, then maybe Jordan only has 4.
With what? Talent. He had no talent at the end. He was fortunate to get that last one, to get to the finals last year. No.
Look, the talent was no better or worse than the Bulls' talent. I'll say this, the Bulls' talent got better after those, I think, the first and second, as they started getting Rodman and everything. But I still think Magic Johnson is the greatest player of all time because, again, his career was cut short and he was very impactful right from day one, from winning the championship as a rookie. And Jordan, it took him a while to figure it out.
Hey, I'm going to give you some taster's choice. Because at the rate we're going, we're going to be up till 6 in the morning.
Okay. Right, but Jordan also had the luxury of having the greatest coach of all time.
Give me some Nescafe. All right, so we got yours. Oh, it's mine. I'll be short. Michael Jordan. Not much to talk about. He's clearly the best. No one will ever be better. I realize.
How can you say no one will? Oh, wait a minute. How can you say no one will be better? You're not going to live another 200 years. In fact, LeBron James could be considered the greatest, and he's still playing. I can make arguments for that.
Alexa, I can make the coffee pot. Alexa, automatic drip. Nobody. Right, first of all, Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak will never be beaten. Cal Ripken, 2,131 or 32 games, will never be beaten. Steroids are out. Nobody's ever beating 83 home runs again. So Anyway, Michael Jordan is the best. He's the most
But you're
skilled. He won
talking
6
about a
championships.
statistic.
I want to know.
best.
Is Robert? So if your statistic, what is the number that you're looking for? Because LeBron in numbers has Jordan in every category of statistics.
It's not about numbers.
Except rings. And so if you're
not
going to
about
go
numbers.
rings, you're going to go rings. You
about
got to go
numbers.
Bill
What's the
Russell.
best?
What is your number? What is your number?
Oh,
Why are you
Hey,
saying?
Rusty,
I don't have a number. It's qualitative.
Okay.
It's qualitative.
Hey, Rusty, who's your number two then? I want to hear your number two.
Yeah, let's get it
now.
going. No.
I want to hear your
Pat,
number
it's
two
your
then.
turn. It's your turn.
Oh, no, I want
Pat.
to hear Rusty's first. I want to hear
All
Rusty.
right, let's
on
hear
this one.
Rusty's. We might hear another couple of hours.
I will let Jordan be number two, but I
See,
can argue.
you talk about LeBron. Oh,
I will number two. But I could also make an argument for LeBron.
all that talking, and then you went with Jordan at number two. Okay,
Right,
all right,
fine.
thank you.
I mean, the man is great. I mean, I'm saying there's only one person greater than him.
Okay,
I think LeBron. I think he's right. Let me just say.
All right, hold on. We're
I
talking about
honestly
MJ.
believe. Let me just say this. I think it really should be a number one, A, B, and C, and then you can go number four.
You should tell your wife there should be a wife
Come on.
A, B, and C, and I mean, come on, man.
I wouldn't mind that.
All right, Pat, who's your number two?
I got LBJ as number two.
LeBron James.
Yep, I got him. I mean, another complete player. I mean, his issue with me is sometimes I just don't think he has the killer instinct to do it himself. He wants to make that perfect basketball play all the time, and sometimes I just think if you handle it yourself, you'd have more rings.
Okay.
So LBJ is my number two.
All right.
And
Very
what about you,
respectable.
Kirk?
So LeBron James. Okay. I'm gonna say now. I think championships are overrated. However, with the number of championships, all-time leading scorer, number of years in the league, and the skyhook was unstoppable, I got to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And
Absolutely.
I just think
I could read.
he can play now because he could run the court, and I don't care if these guys could shoot. No one could stop him. And as far as like being a Shaquille O'Neal and maybe being a liability defensively, because these guys could bring Shaq out and shoot off them all day. Kareem could move. So I'm going to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and we're all going to intertwine pretty much. So we both got two in. Why don't we go back to three?
Okay.
I could also make an argument. They're all. I don't think we're wrong. I could make an argument that Kareem could be number one.
Absolutely.
He was an absolutely amazing player. Won at every level and didn't just win, but dominated.
Right.
And so another thing, because we didn't mention criteria, one of the things that does weigh heavily in the things I think is the impact the individual had on the game, like not just point score, but like Kareem made them change the rules in terms of dunking.
Right.
You couldn't even dunk in college. I look at Michael Jordan, his impact on the marketing and want to be like Mike. But that what made people love basketball even more, and his flair. So I thought that was the impact on the game. But then the other thing I think of LeBron James, I think that one is the way he empowered players in terms of moving, going, and helping to create his own teams, and then speaking up for social issues. Those are things that,
and I think that's one of the biggest things LeBron did. I mean, I know a lot of people I argue with people every time about the decision that he did. I thought that was the smartest thing ever done.
Absolutely.
He had his own draft. He had his own team draft, and he chose who was number one.
Yep. And I think actually that is one of the reasons I saw where Jordan was lacking, is that, Jordan, again, this could be just a debate on Jordan, but Jordan basically quit. He quit the game because he couldn't have his players. And so and Jordan's team was dictated by a front office group of people.
His father was killed. His father was murdered, man.
No, I'm talking about his father died. His father was after the third championship. I'm saying after the sixth.
They were breaking that team. Well,
Jordan quit because they were breaking the team up. But my point is, it's because he was just a piece of a puzzle that somebody else controlled, and he didn't have. We talked about before, like he didn't have the go getterness enough to say, okay, let's do this with whoever you bring in. He quit. He quit.
Right. I won't go that far.
And LeBron didn't have any talent in those first few Cleveland teams, even in the 4 Cleveland teams he took to the finals. You know, they weren't that talented, but he didn't. You know, so but again, that those are some of the things I think there were pluses, there were minuses on Jordan, but I think again, some of these people made impacts. Those weighted for me.
He didn't quit. He doesn't.
He
does not have quit as in his DNA. Michael Jordan.
You guys are
best defender
salty over here.
No,
best defender ever.
Blinded. He's not the best defender ever. You're blinded.
If you took athletic capability out of it, he would kick Tom Brady's ass. He would kick everybody's butt, man. Ray Lewis, that is the man.
No, okay.
It's the last guy you want to get in fight.
Kirk, you are so blinded. So we got to cut this off because
King Kong ain't got nothing on MJ. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Laney High School. All right, pass number 3.
He was not the most athletic athlete out there at all. He's a good basketball player.
Oh my
God. Great basketball player.
LeBron James is a greater athlete than Michael Jordan.
Okay, we'll get to that. So, all right.
My number 3, I'm going to go with Kareem. That's an easy one for me.
All right, so we've talked that out, unless Rusty wants to talk another.
I got Kareem.
Again, these top 4 or 5 are, I'm going with LeBron. LeBron number 3.
Okay. All right. Well,
who do you have, Kirk?
I'm going to go with LeBron James, and here's why. All right. Freak of nature. Can play 1, 2, 3, and let's face it, could play 4 or 5 in today's game. 6'8", 250. He brings it up and handles it like a true point guard. Plenty. He's a shooter, unbelievable shooter. He's a freak of nature. He's got the championships. I believe he's handled himself extremely well. When you're in that kind of spotlight, I mean, trouble's going to come out. Somebody's going to pay somebody off, And so I got a lot of respect for him. The moves, he's not the only one to do it. I didn't like the Miami move. However, getting out of Cleveland, I can understand. But, I will say this, and I hope I don't light off a powder keg here, is that LeBron at his very best is not as unstoppable as MJ. When MJ came in the league in 1984, nobody had ever seen anybody like him. And by the way, his game not developed.
Yes, they had.
It's cut.
Yes, they did.
Julius Erving?
Dr. J.
No.
Yes.
No.
In the ABA.
No.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jeremy.
Dr. J.
Julius
dominated.
Erving. You ain't never met Julius
but that wasn't
step slower.
That wasn't the best league.
Could not cut.
The ABA.
Step slower, could not cut. Great player, and I feel bad saying that about Dr. J. All right, let's go to 4, because now we're going to get into some interesting there.
Because let me just say this also. I'm not taking away from Jordan's athleticism, but what I will say is this. You guys were kids. You looked up to Jordan. If you go back and look at the teams, the athletes were not that athletic back then. The people he was playing, we look back and you look how slow those NBA games were. The defense everybody talks about good defense. It wasn't good defense. It was beating each other up, but it was horrible defense. The people weren't athletic. They were just physical. But and Jordan was just a good athlete among them. Like right now, Jordan today is with all of these private trainers and starting basketball younger. They're stronger. They're eating better. Jordan would not necessarily be the greatest athlete out there. There are guys.
Oh my goodness, Rusty! We're gonna have to start over. Jordan would eat these kids for lunch.
He's the greatest basketball player
ever. He would crush these kids. Nobody could defend him. He got big. He lifted weights. He learned how to shoot. He learned how to handle.
Are we gonna make this a Jordan show?
Yeah. So let's go to 4, because we got some big names coming up. We got some big names. It's fun. Go ahead, Pat.
Magic is my 4th of all time.
All right, you got Magic,
and that's to me another easy. I mean, you talk about playing all 5 positions. He did that in one series.
Oh yeah, Rusty. You got Craig Elo.
No, I got Kareem.
All right, you got Kareem. All right. I won't hate on y'all, but Kobe's number 4. Sorry.
Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. Kobe shouldn't even be in your top 15. Okay, so look again. Everybody's blinded by Kobe's supposed swag. Look, Kobe was an inefficient shooter. Okay, if we go by today's metrics, he was inefficient, big time inefficient. Just like my boy Bethel High School, Allen Iverson. Is not an efficient player. Kobe's mid-range game is played out. He would have to get better as a three-point shooter. And he's no way he should be in the top 5. You're telling me Kobe Bryant. Let me ask you this. Kobe Bryant, would you rather play on his team or would you rather play with LeBron James?
Would I rather play on Kobe's team or with LeBron James? I'd rather play with Kobe.
Oh my gosh, he would hate you. He would hit you. You would hate him. He wouldn't pass you the ball. He would be a jerk. He wouldn't be a great teammate. He would be selfish. You would not like playing with Kobe Bryant. And he's not. He broke.
You're talking about one of the nicest guys ever.
That has nothing to do with being on the court. And how do you know he's a nice guy?
He's a nice guy.
Okay, all right.
Okay. He averaged 44% all time.
He had no friends. So nice guy. He had no relation. And look, let me tell you something. Let me give you an example of Kobe Bryant in 2022. Jason Tatum. Because he modeled his game, and that's what you would get, bro.
That's an insult.
What you would get.
That's not even close.
Nope.
We've been on for 18 minutes,
purple.
and we're not even through the top 5. All right, so Pat, you've got MJ, LeBron, Kareem, and Magic. Who you got for number 5?
I got the legend, Larry Bird.
Larry Legend. All right.
Larry's a great player.
To me,
absolutely. I got no problem with that.
Well, I've had discussions recently about Larry Bird. Why is he still on? Like, because you're talking about what's his name? Number 30. I can't think of his name in Boston. Golden State.
Steph.
Curry. Steph. I've heard a lot of people want to replace Larry with Steph. I'm not there yet. And if you look at his stat, if you look at Larry's stats, Larry was balling. Larry was having a double-double. He averaged a double-double for his full career. It's hard for me to touch that. I didn't like him during the time, but
I can't believe that Kirk thinks that Kobe is better than Kirk. Than Larry Bird. I can't believe that. But I'll say this: Larry Bird. Again, I have no problem with him being in the top 5. But I'm going to go back to some of the athleticism, but Larry Bird had great heart. He could shoot, and this is to me what makes a difference between a lot of players is that killer instinct that Jordan had, that Larry Bird had, and I can see. With your argument in terms of LeBron not always feeling like he had that killer instinct. But in terms of Larry Bird, let me ask you this, because Kirk, I think you brought this up in the conversation. If Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be a great player. Don't get me wrong, one of the best in the league. He would be a better player probably. He'd also probably take care of his body a little better and things. But was he even really better than Dirk Nowitzki? If Dirk was playing in the early 80s, would Dirk be Larry Bird if he was playing?
I don't think so. It's a mentality. Larry Bird had a different mentality. Dirk is a great player, but Dirk got to the finals one time, and he caught a team.
He got there twice. He got there in 06.
Yeah, he got there.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Miami,
Okay. Yeah.
And then in 11, and Dirk led team. Dirk had no help. Larry Bird played with a bunch of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
All right. Larry's probably 30 pounds heavier, 25 pounds heavier than Dirk Nowitzki. He had a better range, and
no, you can't say that.
Absolutely,
he was a great shooter, but Dirk can light it up too.
No. Dirk couldn't light it up from out there. Where Larry lit it up there about 4 or 5 short of the range of Stephen Curry. He made it rain. And if you talk about defense, he used to make shots with people completely in his face. He was just that good. So he could play now.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite.
I know Larry's great.
And to me, one of my favorite things I ever saw with Larry Bird was when the Atlanta Hawks bench was dying out laughing because he was killing the players on the floor.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the entire bench got fined.
That's why I have mad respect for Larry, because he talked trash and he backed it up, and he just was a great player. So yeah,
Right.
I have no. I just can't believe you would put Kobe over a lot of these other players out there. I just can't see it. But anyway, my number 5, and I felt he was one of the greater players for a while, but he certainly solidified, and that's Steph Curry. To me, Steph Curry, not just because he's a great shooter, but because he's a great leader. He's a ball handler. He goes to the basket. He can take people. He can distribute, and he's willing to have sacrifice his game. People want to say, "Oh, they want KD." Yeah, but you know what? When KD went there, at the time he came, Steph Curry was the best basketball player in the NBA, and he stepped his game back to make the team work. And you got to give that person credit for that. And that's something that I don't think Kobe could do. That's something I don't think a lot of guys could do. So Steph being able to facilitate, be a team player, step up when he's needed. And in the run they had, I just think he's got to be considered. And he's not done. He's got to be considered
How
one
old
of
is
the
he?
top
How old
players.
is
He's 34. He's 34.
Well, he's got some gas in the tank. Okay.
I don't see top 5, but if that's what you want to believe, that's good.
That's okay.
I mean, no, yeah, because I mean, he's done a lot of things, but he's got what? 1 Finals MVP. He's lost a 3-1 lead. Oh, I got you, but he lost a 3-1 lead.
Cornbread Maxwell won the MVP one year with all those superstars.
Yeah, with Larry, I remember the first one that they won.
Iguodala. Look, I'm surprised. This is how they normally do some of this crap. I'm surprised they didn't give it to Wiggins this year, because they just do that sometimes. That's like Iguodala.
They were talking
he
about
wasn't
that.
the best. He
that was
wasn't
not
the
going
best
to happen this
player
time
in that finals. No, it wasn't. But I'm saying that happens sometimes. Like, clearly, Steph Curry was the best player even back then.
Okay, we're not getting paid for this, but I'm gonna change. You're right. I was wrong about Kobe. Magic's got to go before Kobe. All right, Magic's got to go before Kobe. So I'm gonna put Kobe number 5. Magic. Just I will say this about Magic. He can run the floor, so he can play now. Magic was not a great shooter. His form was not that good. I don't know if he could jump over 2 phone books, but his court vision in today's game, with the way they run, Showtime in LA, I think Magic would do very well. And at 6'9", and the way he used his body and his electricity, he was an entertainer, man. You had to see him play. So I'm going to switch Magic, go to Kobe. All right. We have been on here for probably 25 minutes. So let's step it up. Pat, who you got at number 6?
I got a sleeper, Tim Duncan, for me.
It's not that big of a sleeper.
Okay.
I think what he did, he helped David get that ring. And while he's one of the most boring players to watch, nobody hit the backboard better than he did, putting the ball in the rim. And
he also had a very good team too,
Oh, yeah. He had a great coach.
That's
part of it too.
Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, the Admiral, Tim Duncan. I mean, yeah, that's a good team. All right, Rusty, who do you have?
Again, this is why I thought maybe we would want to maybe do separate big men. But if not, I got to go with Wilt Chamberlain. Like, Wilt Chamberlain dominated. He did not win as many championships as Bill Russell, but again, I'm going people that impacted the game. He totally dominated. They were changing rules because of him. And then again, one point I did want to make about Magic. Again, he changed the game. What he did as a 6'9" point guard was incredible. And you're right. Maybe athletically he doesn't look the most athletic. When you see him younger, he's doing a lot of stuff, but he's clearly not as athletic. But his skills were undeniable. And so Magic definitely made an impact on the game. Again, all of these players, I think, Wilt Chamberlain. So far in my top 6, I think, were definitely impacted and changed the game.
Is it my turn again? Wow, now we're moving. I'm going to go with Wilt also. Wilt did not have a lot of championship teams around him. He wasn't surrounded. They didn't build around him. He won one. But he's the one.
Two,
Yeah.
right?
Too. But
He won
he's the
one in
one
Philly.
that stopped the dunking. That was before, wasn't that before Lou Alcindor, Kareem?
They might have stopped it because of
Will.
you're right. It might have been.
Will
I thought it was-
Rolling
I thought it was
down.
Lou Alcindor because it started with
Yeah.
college. Lou Alcindor because
Yeah,
they wouldn't allow him to dunk. That's how the Skyhook
Okay.
came. Yeah.
yeah. That's
At-
why he
at any
developed the
rate,
skyhook.
I watched a video the other day and they were watching him run, and they also watched him. This is a guy that's over 7 feet tall. He did a triple jump. He was amazing. He was amazing. In today's game, he could run. So, I would think it's just his athletic ability. Back then, he didn't have to develop a jumper, but you think about Giannis going up against Will Chamberlain. I mean, so I'll go with Will. All right, 7 for Pat.
For me, I have Wilt at number 7, so I have nothing else to say about Wilt.
All right. Rusty.
Just again, I'm not. I think when I look at overall skills impact, this person doesn't necessarily do it for me in terms of any leadership. I just think he's a little misguided sometimes. But when I looked at again his skills and what he can do on the court, I got to go Kevin Durant. Just a great player. But I don't like some of the off the court and some things. But I'm going to have to put him somewhere, probably in that top 10, top 15. And I think once I start looking at his game, I think he can fit in at number 7.
How many teams has he been on?
3.
Hold on. Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
And then he went to
Golden State.
State. In New Jersey.
And
New
And Brooklyn.
And that's it?
That's it.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's in his
he's 30. He's
30.
about 33.
Okay.
And
All
so-
right.
Okay, another
I'm
thing
not
I
there
did
yet.
want to bring up. Oh, go ahead. Oh, okay. All right. But let me say this. You talked about Steph having stuff left in the tank. At 34, a lot of guys in the NBA back in the 80s, like that was old. How old was Jordan when he retired before the Wizards?
He was 40 when he left. When he was 40, he was
No,
almost
I'm saying
40 when he
before
left.
the Wizards. I'm saying when he left.
Oh,
When he left before his
36,
after the
37.
6 game. Okay,
He's
he was about
37.
36.
And that was
hold on,
one
what year was that?
90s, 98. They 96, 97, 98.
Okay, so Jordan was born in the class of 81. Jordan should have been born in 63, so he would have been 35. So 35. Okay.
And that's one of the things I was curious about with Rusty. When you were talking about Magic, he had more time to give. They weren't playing that much longer. Nobody played more than 13, 14 years back then.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, let me just say, I agree,
Kareem.
but I also think I understand. So he was, if he was, in 91, he was 30, maybe 32, 33, because he came into the league in 80. He was born in 6. So he was, Magic must have been, I think he was born in 1960. And so Magic was
class of
only
79,
31.
so he would have been born in 61, or if he was 1960.
I just know in
1960.
1980, when he won a championship, he was 20 years old. So in 91, he was 31. And so he did have a little more time left, but I also believe
No,
that
hold on. No, that's a good point, because he graduated from high school in 1977.
Right. He played two. He only played 2 years in college, right?
1959. There you go.
He won the college championship in 79 and the
Right.
NBA in 80.
Okay.
And so he was only 31. The other thing is this, his game was built. He already had an old man game. Like, I think he could have played until he was 38 easily and still been like a LeBron at the same age.
I'm going to go with Steph. And there is an amazingness to him that no other player has. And it's the range. And it's like, for a while, it was like, oh my God, he just making it rain. He's getting lucky. He's hot, but he makes it consistently. In a different era in the 80s with hand checking, he would have had to beef up. I mean, he's not a very big guy. He would just have to beef up some, and
Who?
Steph.
Curry.
Yeah.
He'd have been quicker than everybody.
Not with the hand check. Them
No,
jokers.
when they're beating the crap out of you.
The glove puts your hands on you. I mean, some of those players back then.
Vinny Johnson,
need about it.
Isaiah Thomas. I mean, you think about the defensive guards back then, the defensive off guards, and the guys that they put on you. They were allowed to foul you a lot more, so he would have gotten more beat up. And in order to succeed, just like Michael Jordan, he would have had to have hit. But he's got something that you can't stop, and that's an unbelievable range. And not only is he a great shooter, he shoots it mechanically just about perfect. So I'll go with Steph, and then let's go 8.
8, I have the Diesel.
Shaq.
I got Shaq Diesel for me.
Very underrated player.
I think he did things that just were unnatural because of his height. Because of his height and weight and how big he was over everybody else.
Unbelievable.
Beyond the free throws, he was a bad man.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I could again see him anywhere in this top 7. But I'm gonna go ahead on because I do have mad respect for Larry Bird, and I'm gonna go ahead with Larry Bird at number 8 for me.
All right. I'm gonna look like the biggest clown here, but I'm thinking about Larry Bird at the 8th best player, and I'm like, that is crazy. I'm gonna put Larry. I'm gonna put Larry at 5.
You switch it, okay?
All right, Kobe might get back in. All right.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so let's just do this. Let's put these last 2. I think are going to be very interesting. Let's go ahead and put Kobe. I'll put Kobe at 8. So the Diesel.
You think Kobe is better than Dr. J?
Yes, I do.
Long term, yes, easily.
No, not easily.
Yes.
No, I don't think so at all.
So
you're saying you think Kobe is better than Charles Barkley? Charles Barkley was dominant. He was a great.
That's a hard one, but yes, that's definitely because Charles Barkley's underrated now at this point in his.
Well, he never had a team around him. You talk about AI, Allen Iverson. He's not going to make this list, I think, for any of us. But he never had a team around him, man.
But that's by choice. That's by choice.
No,
they had to build that team a certain way. They could not build that
and
team
they messed
with other
up.
players. Okay. They had to build that team like so. Again, this is what I'm talking about in terms of teams being built and how they function and everything. Allen was not going to adjust his game, and he made that very clear by the fact that he couldn't stay in the league. He never adjusted his game to say, let me be the point guard, a real point guard. He had to score. Do you think a Kobe, and let me ask you this, my brother always, and I said, if Allen had said, okay, I'll step my game back a bit and let's go get a Reggie Miller. Let's go get somebody else that can use the ball, can do something with it. And I don't think Allen was going to be able to do that.
He proved that in Denver. I respect that. Yeah,
I respect that too. Because could Allen have been in a place where he was not absolutely the spotlight? I know nothing about him personally. I've heard very good things about him as a person, but he seemed to be someone who needed to be the number one guy. And, a lot of times you can get some rings by being 1A or 2. So let's move to 9.
All right, I got your boy Kobe at number 9 for me.
Kobe.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, Kobe proved his worth. And even though he did not shoot well in that last championship, he took one All-Star and a bunch of role players and won a championship against Boston. Yes, he did. Anytime you go against Kevin Durant, Paul Pierce, and I can't think of the shooter's name that went to Miami afterwards, Ray Allen, and he took their heart from him and won the championship. To me, that was his greatness right there. He willed a bunch of guys to a finals.
How about somebody leaving when Ray Allen left the way he left? I don't get that. Leaving after a championship. I just don't get the way guys leave now. So,
But they were 2 years removed, Ray Allen, from a championship when he left.
They were, and he went to a better. Look, to me, I think it was the guys he was with were clearly jerks the way they treated him when he left. I mean, I totally understand Ray, and Ray went to a great team.
true
the
that.
Going to
next
Miami,
phase.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I have no problem with that.
Who's your number 9? Bird. Hudson.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and give props to Bill Russell, because Bill Russell,
Okay.
he did dominate. I mean, he was on a team with a bunch of Hall of Famers. He won 11 championships, but somewhere in there, he was the best player during all those years. And so I got to give him some props for that.
Okay. I'm going to go with Shaq. I'm a huge Shaq fan as a person, as an entertainer. That guy is so funny. He's so successful. And when he came in the league, just dunking on people at his size, unbelievable skill set. 7'1". If he went against those European guys now, they'd have to have stretchers, but he would be a liability, and they'd have to play somebody that could pull him out 8, 9, 10 feet, and shoot over them. So I like Shaquille O'Neal, and then you're up next, Pat, but I'm sitting here wondering who the heck am I going to leave out? But go ahead, Pat.
Well, y'all gonna debate me on this one. That's fine. It was between two people. It was Bill Russell, and the only reason I didn't pick him is because I never saw him play. It was just more hearsay. I'm gonna go with Isaiah Thomas. I think Isaiah Thomas is one of the best players that
Absolutely
gets no credit.
Very respectful.
And to me,
Very
the
respectful.
reason I say that is he ended the Lakers dynasty. He ended Boston's dynasty while fighting off Jordan's dynasty coming, and got 2 championships in the process. And he also had what I think Joe Dumars is probably, and maybe Bill Laimbeer, the closest he had to Hall of Famers. And to me, he ran the court for a lot of years.
Yeah, I agree. I told you, Pat, he was my favorite. I wore number 11 because of him. And I wore it in basketball and football when we played. I'm like, this is my man. And so I have no problem with that. I think because of, the whole situation with the 92 Olympic team and being left out and him not being friends anymore with Magic and Jordan.
To me, that makes it even more great, because he was so much of a thorn in the greatest player of all time that he couldn't even play with the big boys.
That's right. Yeah. And he would, and right, exactly. He definitely should have been there, but they were so bitter. They couldn't let it go. All right. So for me, number 9, I don't think I've listed him yet, but I just think he's one of the greatest of all time. And it's Larry Bird, for me.
You already have him. You said Larry Bird. You already had Bird.
I did?
You already had Bird, yeah.
Yeah, come on, man. You better take your man.
I'm sorry. So I had Larry at 8, or did I have him at? Because I had KD at 7. I thought I said Larry.
You got Larry Bird at 8. You got LeBron at 3.
So then what was Bill Russell? Then Bill Russell must have been my 9.
Bill Russell was your 9th.
Okay, so then I'm sorry. I thought I had Larry, but okay, I didn't. When you were saying the numbers, I thought you said we were on 9. And okay, so I'm actually giving my 10th at this point, right? So for me, number
you're
10,
on your 10th, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So man, there are so many. Again, I didn't see them, but I understand Elgin Baylor was great. I understand Jerry West was great.
Yep.
Oscar Robertson was great. I just didn't see him.
Rick Barry, Jerry West.
Rick Barry. Yeah, these were great players. Even like I said
Willis Reed.
Before, Willis Reed, Dr. J. I don't, and I'm gonna throw another name out there that we were having the same conversation 3 years ago with Kawhi Leonard. Like people fade in our memory when they get hurt now. But when Kawhi came off taking Toronto, that was his 3rd championship. And a lot of people were considering him one of the greatest players of all time. Now, I'm not saying he would have been in the top 10, but just we kind of forget players when they kind of disappear out of our range. So, I think for my number 10, I want to go with Tim Duncan. I want to go with Tim Duncan because I see where he could have been. I think he is the greatest power forward of all time. So I got to give him some credit on that. And I think the way my team is made up, I think I have maybe the number one player at each position. But you guys tell me. But go ahead. Who do you have as number 10?
I think we all have just about the number one player. So you got Duncan at 10. I was just going to say that Bill Russell was just surrounded by so many Hall of Famers. So he was a winner.
But but they weren't winners until he got there. Bob Cousy didn't win a championship until Bill Russell.
Man, you're leaving out a bunch of guys, man. You're leaving out Don Casey, not Don Casey. You're leaving out Don Nelson. You're leaving out John Havlicek. You're leaving out.
I guess my point is, were they Hall of Famers with Bill Russell, or did Bill Russell make them Hall of Famers?
Oh, they were Hall of Famers. Well,
the Celtics wouldn't have won any without Larry Bird, but they got Kevin McHale. I mean, they got Robert Parrish. I know about it. Take Bird out. Think of those 3 championships he won. Take Bird out.
So I think he was key, but he had, again, that's what I'm saying. DJ's in the Hall of Fame. You know, McHale, Bill Walton was on one of those teams as a Hall of Famer. You know, I mean, there's a lot of that around there. And look, I can make the same argument against my own man, Magic. Like, Magic played with some Hall of Fame players. Now, some of them weren't like in our top tier Hall of Famers. Some of them were because of the collective, but those are some great players around them.
What I Draymond Green? Oh, it's interesting because Draymond Green could maybe a Hall of Famer one day because he was in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree totally.
All right, I definitively say the Celtics without Bird, because they were in 3 or 4 finals too, by the way. So they were in like 7 finals. I definitively say that. If you look at that Lakers team without Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Norm Nixon, Michael Cooper.
No, Worthy got there later. Before that was Jamal Wilkes. He was a great player.
Worthy got there in 82, man. He won a championship in 82, and he was on the Lakers roster that fall. I mean, you're talking about old guys and new guys coming in. You know, he had some great players. And by the way, I'm not saying, I mean, he was the best. And of course he had Kareem. But my number 10, it's going to be, you know, it's interesting, is because we've had all this talk, I got to go with Dr. J. And the reason why I got to go with Dr. J is because the things that he could do above the rim. And, you know, he was about the exact same size as MJ. He couldn't handle it or shoot it like MJ, but what he could do around the rim and his above the game rim, he was like, he kept the league alive until Bird and Magic came in, and he was unbelievably exciting. And the Sixers never really put anybody around him except that one year. You know, that one year.
Andrew Toney.
No. They were just he had Bobby Jones,
Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones.
Now they had players around. It just was a hard look. Again, that's why I don't like the argument about championships. They had to compete against the Celtics. They had to compete against the Lakers. Like they were, you know, it was tough. You know, like he was going against Milwaukee's Kareem, and you know.
Milwaukee used to have great teams. They were a hard out in the East, man. I mean,
I know.
Moncrief,
Moncrief. Oh, yeah.
Who was the guy
Jack
from
Sigma?
Terry? What's his name from?
Terry Cummings.
Terry Cummings.
Terry Cummings. And also not Bill. I want to say Bill Lambert, but Bill. What was the guy with the really big guy with the bad knees? Oh my gosh, we saw him mostly when he was old for Milwaukee. I can't think of. But Lanier.
Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier.
Yeah.
So there were some like, man, in this again, we go with that championships thing, and I mean, just think, because in this great Jordan was great, but like because of the Jordan era, you know, Barkley doesn't get one. Barkley leads the team to the championship, but you don't. Patrick Ewing doesn't win a championship. Maybe we look at him in a different light. Houston, we give Olajuwon a lot of credit, and he was a great player. But he did it, when Jordan was out, but he was great.
He's definitely one that that on that cusp. Olajuwon's name doesn't get mentioned like it should be.
I wanted to put Olajuwon in, but I didn't.
Yeah.
A real rapid fire. Let's wrap up because we've already talked long we wanted to.
Who did we miss? Who could have
name five? Name five.
I can tell you something. Yeah. So
I would start with Olajuwon.
Yeah. Yep. Olajuwon. I think Moses Malone. Was a great player, man. Moses won. He won NBA Player of the Year twice, but he also led Houston to the finals.
Barkley
a couple of times.
Barkley.
Yep. David Robinson. David was a great player.
How about Scottie Pippen?
I wouldn't say top 15.
Okay, I wouldn't say top 15,
no.
but
Just, that's
no.
Okay.
I don't even think he's top.
All right, that's cool.
Karl Malone. He finished as the all-time leading scorer.
No,
Jerry,
second.
I'm sorry, you're right. Second. You're right. Second. But you're right. I'd say Jerry West. Again, they say he was averaging like crazy amounts of points, and he just didn't win those championships. I think.
You can look at a Bernard King, what he did in his career. He doesn't get the respect. Yep. Definitely.
Oscar Robertson.
He would definitely be one.
Oscar Robertson, definitely. And, we're leaving out. There's a number of big men that we're leaving out that were, very dominant on some teams.
Yeah. We talked about him earlier, Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki, to me, could be easily top 20.
Yeah,
and should be.
I don't mean to. I feel leaving Kevin Durant out because Kevin Durant, all-time lead. He's just a special player. He could play. He would get beat up a lot more in the '80s, but he could play in any era. So,
I want to see how it finishes out with him.
Yeah,
I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I think
he's a Hall of Famer.
I think the next 3 to 4 years is whether he's an all-time great for me.
Yeah.
KD?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, but see, after KD won those 2 championships, again, it's the time of that moment. Like people are like, oh, he's top 5. They were doing that with him because he had lost one in OKC. He was one of the best players. He's unstoppable. But I think his career is going to have to play out. But what? Let me ask you this. Here are a couple of where do we see Dwyane Wade? Because if you ask me, Dwyane Wade might be top. I think I put Dwyane Wade over Kobe Bryant. He was a great defender. Hold on, listen up. He played big in NBA Finals. In 06, he won the MVP, and he could score mid-range game and a better team player than Kobe.
No,
I think he's maybe the nicest guy of all time. I think he's a little overrated. He's got a beautiful.
I think he's
wife.
top 30.
A lot more money than me. He's not
overrated. He's not overrated. He just wasn't in LA at a time, like Kobe.
No, he had Shaq for a ring. I'm just saying, LeBron for a ring. He's top 30. My point is,
Kobe was on the Lakers, so he's in a market and he was in an organization that allow him to shine. So that's why we see, like if Kobe Bryant was playing in Charlotte, he wouldn't be Kobe Bryant that you think of today. And I don't think he would have called the team to do.
You didn't put Kobe in the top 10.
He's not.
Okay.
He's not.
No. The man went out with 60-some points in his last game. To me, that was the icing on the cake.
He said he didn't have any friends, man. Come on.
He said I'm not making this up.
That's what he said.
Well, I don't care if he had friends or not. He's one of the greatest. Jordan didn't have a lot of friends. Jordan didn't have a lot of friends. You hear if you was it
what? No. Jordan, Kobe hit some shots, but he was not a leader. He was not a good.
He was a leader.
Shooter.
He pushed Shaq. but he wasn't the leader that you like. But he willed a team to 2 championships by himself.
No,
All right,
And the second one was even better.
I'm gonna cut it off so we can all go to sleep because and this is it. 3 minutes, 33 seconds. All right. Best team ever. You're our guest. Please go.
I'm gonna say the Lakers when they beat
86.
What's the team? No, the Celtics the last time. That was one of my favorite teams.
That was 86. No, they beat them 87.
Yeah, in 88 they won
the
their last championship.
87. Yeah.
Actually, did Boston win in 86?
Boston won 86. They won it. Lakers won in 87, 88.
All right. Rusty?
Those Lakers teams were dominant and they were great. But I think in one single season, 1 year, I think when they picked up Moses Malone, I think that 83 76ers team, 4-4-4, you know, that one season, they were dominant. They were dominant.
Man, I think the Lakers would tear them up. You know,
they didn't tear them up. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying overall, the Lakers.
I'm saying for
1
year, that 1 year.
But here's the thing: we just showed our age on that one. We really showed our age on that one. I mean, we didn't even think about the Golden State team with Durant. We didn't think about
70,
Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jordan's
boring.
Team, you know,
the Duncan's team that beat the Miami Heat that ended LeBron there. Those are also some great teams. But we went straight to our safe spot that the 80s. And what Kirk was saying earlier, that's when you need that 30-year-old in there to straighten us out on that one.
You know, you know what though, Pat? I'm jarring my brain, and I'm talking about guys that can run up and down the floor, run up and down the floor and shoot. And you know, you're right. We're showing our age. I definitely agree with that. But Rusty made a good point about Philly. I forgot about how special. And I was actually a Sixers fan. I think that I would say that I agree with you, Pat. That last Lakers team. And then
I really can't argue that much with you. I'm right there with you. They were great.
Right. And then you got to think about, like you said, some of those Spurs teams. We didn't talk about those guys a lot, but they had some great basketball players, man. I mean, Tony
they had
Parker.
Big Shot Bob. Yeah. I mean, just some great role players. You had Elliott. You had some.
Robert Ory didn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
No,
of course not.
Why not? He got 6 or 7 championships.
I don't care if he has 20. He's not good enough.
But
he's a Lynn Swan of receiver of shooters. He only has
No, he's the Joe Namath of quarterbacks. Joe Namath doesn't win that Super Bowl when he's not. You ever seen Broadway Joe's stats?
Woo!
I know they're like Kobe's. They're like Kobe's.
Oh, come on.
Kobe shot 44%.
All right, gentlemen. Okay. It's been
right,
real.
This has been great. Yep.
It's been a pleasure.
Last question. We talked about the greatest NBA team, but what is the worst or not the least talented team to win an NBA championship? And maybe they were just the best team. Maybe they just were the best team. I don't want to disrespect
anybody like that, but I almost want to say Detroit with Wallace, the Wallace brothers. And that's to me, that's so disrespectful because those boys went in there. And the thing was, they caught the Lakers on their 4th trip.
Yeah.
And they were trying to rebuild. They had the mailman, they had the glove on there. And you had Kobe and Shaq bickering at that time. I think that's one of the reasons they won. And also, another one is Toronto. Golden State was shot.
Yeah. So let me say this. I'm going to go with another team that I think when you look at the totality of the team, it was not a lot of talent. And I'm going to say, and this is why I put LeBron in such high esteem, is that Cleveland team that won that championship. When you look at that was not a talented team. Before he got back, before he got to Cleveland and Kyrie was right, they were not good. The only difference was bringing in LeBron, and they went to 4 straight championship games. And again, he led a horrible pro organization, the Cleveland Cavaliers, to a championship. And I just think they had LeBron, but I think that was not a good team.
All right,
and he ran. Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
I'm sorry. Let's close out with this.
Yep.
Who's winning it next year? And that's it. We're not going to round table it. Who's winning it next year? Golden State do it again?
No.
Okay.
If Kyrie stays, I think Brooklyn is the team. I think y'all have upset KD. KD is watching everything on Twitter right now. He's coming forward.
But
KD, seat pleasant.
Kyrie again is he's not a leader. He's not a winner.
Kyrie ain't got no problem right now.
Dysfunction.
We're not worried about that anymore. I think Brooklyn's on a mission next year.
All right, Rusty, who do you like?
There are tons of great teams. It could be the Sixers, it could be Phoenix, it could be Denver. When Denver gets back Jamal Murray, and if they get back,
are you still trying to figure out who you're gonna pick? Just pick a team. Give us a name.
The Lakers.
The Lakers. Okay,
they'll figure it out. They got LeBron.
I'm gonna go with the Celtics. All right, there you go.
They can't dribble.
I know.
All right, man. Yo, guys, this has been fun. Thank you, Pat, for joining us. And again, we put this out there. I don't think there were any wrong answers. And except when he put Kobe in his top 5,
I changed that.
Yeah, I know.
Rusty, one last thing. We probably should have put this at the beginning. We want a 30-year-old, like you said, that's never seen Jordan really play. We want a 30-year-old that likes to debate, is funny, or is, communicates well. Come back on. Let's do another round here in like 2 or 3 months. We should have put that on in the beginning because I don't know how many. So, hey, guys, it's been a blast. It's 10:30 at Rusty. It's early for us. Last time it was 12:02. I was singing After Midnight by Eric Clapton. All right.
Yeah. Hey, good job, guys.
Pat, I think we got a regular one on. I think we got a regular, man.
I would love to. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's make this a promise. All right. We got off-season workouts now. Okay. When we get into August to start flirting with football, let's do a football. Rusty and I.
We don't want him. He's a Cowboys fan.
Die hard.
We gotta have him then.
We can't have him on the show.
Oh well, we gotta have him, man.
Wait a minute.
He's gonna have Craig Morton. He's gonna have Craig Morton at the top of the list.
You're breaking up. We can't see you.
Really, Bird? Okay, all right, I got you.
Your Wi-Fi's going bad, Pat. We don't see you anymore.
Oh, sure.
Raphael Septien. Raphael Septien.
Hey, we don't bring that up anymore.
All right.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.
All right.
If you're still watching, check us out, the Kirk and Byrd Show on YouTube. Rusty, why don't you take us out?
Yeah, this has been Kirk and Byrd with P-Bats. We're out.
We're out.